I am used to making travel plans. So I researched the hotels and tourist spots on the internet and made reservations. However, the night before we were to leave, my husband said to me,
"Oh, yeah. Mom is coming with us on this trip. Okay."
I was surprised at the suddenness of the matter. What? I thought it would just be you and me.
"I told you, didn't I?"
He's got a nasty way of talking to me. I felt like he was doing it on purpose to annoy me. My name is Erin. I am a 32-year-old housewife. I've been married to my husband Otis for almost a year. And even though we're still newlyweds, I'm already under lots of stress. The cause was my husband. When we were dating, my husband was kind and gave me sweet words and lots of gifts. But as soon as we got married, his attitude changed drastically. I thought my job was worthwhile and I wanted to keep it. But Otis strongly encouraged me to quit.
"It must be hard for you, Erin, to manage both the housework and your job. My earnings would be enough."
But the truth, he just wanted me to stay home and complete the housework. And that's not all. He would give me detailed comments about my cleaning and cooking. It was as if he was coaching me in some kind of sport. I am exhausted by his attitude every day. If I try to talk back to him, he gets very grumpy. Just looking at his face depresses me. His stories are long and he is very persistent. So recently, I have decided not to say anything to him anymore. I often sigh loudly when he is not around. Not only that, but he has become more and more restrictive with me. I need his permission to go out with friends. When I was single, I used to meet up with friends and colleagues several times a month. It is hard for me to remember my single days when I could eat delicious food and sweets at cafes and restaurants and chat as much as I wanted. In the first place, I had to leave the city where I lived because Otis and I got married. It's only a 2-hour drive, but I can no longer see my parents and friends easily. It's a rural area with lots of greenery, but very little in the way of entertainment, to say the least. It's not convenient for shopping, and I don't know anyone. The most painful thing for me is that I don't have enough money to live every month. According to the statements I was shown when we were dating, Otis's income wasn't that bad, but he loved to drink and could not give it up. That alone is a considerable monthly expense. He also liked to gamble and would spend his weekends and holidays in the casino from morning till evening. On days when he lost a lot of money, he would take it out on me. I'm fed up with it. On top of that, Otis was quite a mama's boy. My mother-in-law often came to our house unannounced. She checks every room in the house and gives me a sarcastic look. "Erin, you are not cleaning well again." My mother-in-law loves to tell me what to do, just like her son. Otis is such a mama's boy that he accepts whatever his mother says. He doesn't realize that I am having a hard time. My mother-in-law usually comes over for tea time. Then she happily spends the rest of the evening as she bullies me. After dinner, she occupies the sofa in the living room and watches TV lazily. During this time, I have to listen to her complaints, and it's a pain. After that, she finally goes home. But she can't drive, so I have to drive her home. I feel like throwing up just the fact that I have to listen to her talk about things I don't want to listen to. It was during this time that my husband suggested to go on a trip together. Did something good happen to him at work? I had no idea what was going on. Ever since I was a student, I have always loved taking day trips alone or traveling by train with friends. Being in an environment away from the daily routine, you can forget about the worries and stress of work. You can freely enjoy unfamiliar scenery and food. When I think about it, we don't even have a honeymoon because Otis, who is an indoor person, didn't want to go. So when he suggested the trip, I was excited. I hurriedly made arrangements. Or rather, I had to do it because Otis didn't seem to do anything. It's been a while since I've been on a trip, but I'm used to making travel plans. I looked up hotels and tourist spots on the internet, made reservations, and planned one thing after another. However, the night before we were to leave, Otis said to me,
"Oh, yeah. Mom's coming with us. Okay?"
The suddenness of it took me by surprise. What? I thought it was just you and me.
Huh? I told you, didn't I?
He's got a nasty way of talking to me. From what I have seen so far, I get the feeling that he's doing this on purpose to get me in trouble. I said back to my husband, "Well, we're in trouble then. You know, I have already made a travel plan. It's hard to cancel and rebook now, especially since it's the popular season. Last time I checked, most of the hotels were fully booked." Otis heard that and interrupted me in a mid-sentence. He seemed to be in a bad mood and suddenly became angry.
Huh? It's your fault.
Damn it.
I shouldn't have left it to you. Just rebook or do something. Right now.
Okay. I'll try. I immediately started searching on the computer, as if my grumpy husband was rushing me. Then he pushed me further.
Hey, this is your responsibility. You have to pay for the trip. Got it?
What? Hey, that's...
Don't talk back to me. This is a done deal. And if you don't like it, I'll divorce you,
my husband said in his most boastful manner. I've seen this happen many times, and I am tired of it. I had so many things I wanted to say, but I knew that if I did, I could get into trouble again, so I didn't. As I expected, all the reservations for the hotel were already made. When I finally found some place to stay, the guest reviews were terrible. I am sure Otis and my mother-in-law will complain if I did a bad job with the booking. I thought about what to do, and then decided. Around noon on the day of the trip, my mother-in-law arrived with a large and heavy-looking travel bag. It was unusual. She didn't call me and took a cab. I thought she must have been looking forward to it. My husband, smiling and laughing, greeted her at the front door. Then I said to them, "I'd like you to go on this trip alone, please." "I'm not going." My husband was quite surprised. He thought I was going to apologize for the travel arrangements.
Hey, what the hell? What's that supposed to mean? Explain.
Erin, I've been looking forward to this. Well, I told Otis yesterday. I had to make a sudden change. I couldn't book the hotel for the three of us. Erin, you are hopeless at everything you do, aren't you?
You had all the time and you couldn't even rebook the reservation?
As I had expected, they got sarcastic toward me. So I firmly told them, I had originally made reservations for 2 people, so it should be fine. Considering the check-in time, I think you should leave by now.
Huh? I'm the one who decides when to leave.
Otis seems to be angry at me for expressing my opinion, which is rare for me.
If you are not going, who's going to drive? Besides, who will take care of Mom?
He's right. I need a lot of help, you know. I'm really tired of the attitude of these two. I guess they think I'm nothing more than a convenient housekeeper. I took a deep breath and cut them off. Otis, you can drive. Besides, I don't have a mother-in-law to take care of any longer. Otis looked at me with a blank stare. My mother-in-law, who was standing next to him, rolled her eyes and looked as if she didn't understand. They both looked dumbfounded, so I continued. To tell you the truth, our divorce has already been in process.
What? Divorce?
Otis was shocked and was at loss for words. But after a while, he stared at me.
What? After your mistake in arranging this trip? You're lying to me? What the hell are you thinking?
I kind of knew it.
But you really are an idiot.
Hearing that, my mother-in-law continues.
Yes.
A divorce? Quit the joke, Erin. My mother-in-law said with a slightly pale face. I'm sorry, but it's true. I said that clearly. In fact, Otis had threatened me with divorce many times. When he didn't like something stupid, he did. He seemed to have forgotten all about it, though. The other day, he wanted to threaten me so badly. He even filed for divorce. But I've done the paperwork too. So the divorce will be final soon. My husband's foolish plan to manipulate me has failed. He thought there was no way I could divorce him. I guess he didn't think I was capable of such a drastic thing as divorce, or even the idea of divorce. After a while, my mother-in-law said, Otis, let's leave her alone and go on our own. My mother-in-law is a sucker for luxury and fun, so I knew this would happen. And Otis seemed to agree with her.
Yeah, you're right. Let's leave this idiot alone and go on the trip. Just you and me, Mom. She'll pay for everything anyway. So, let's enjoy it to the fullest.
Maybe it was because he didn't have much time. Or maybe it was because he was in front of his mother. But Otis didn't show his usual overbearing attitude. Then both got into the car and drove off. I, on the other hand, was relieved. That evening, my phone started getting calls from Otis and my mother-in-law. I ignored them for a while, but they were too noisy, so I set my phone in silent. I was just busy packing up my things. When I finished packing everything, I left the house with one suitcase and my purse. It was a house I lived in, but to be honest, I don't have a single good memory of it. I felt refreshed when I stepped out of the house. The destination was my hometown. I'm going to stay with my best friend Gabby for a while. Gabby welcomed me with open arms. We cooked together and talked like we used to, and I felt very relaxed. On the other hand, Otis and his mother had a bad time on their trip. The staff at the hotel was very rude, and Otis seemed to have lost his temper. The room had a small old bathtub with a musty smell, and the water pressure in the shower was too weak. My mother-in-law, who loves spas and is very particular about what she does, was very dissatisfied with this. Dinner was not included. Otis took a wrong turn and arrived late, so all the restaurants were closed. So they had no choice but to buy food from the vending machines. The next morning, my mother-in-law was excited about the buffet, but she was disappointed to find that it was just frozen food quality. They had a lot of bad-mouthing each other at the hotel, and there was a lot of fighting. On the way back, my husband hit the car in front of him because he was looking aside while driving. Although they were not seriously injured, both of them got whiplash. In addition, When the other man yelled at Otis, Otis lost his temper and retorted in his usual tone. This led to a lawyer's case. The other man's car was a brand new car and very shiny. And because it was a rare car model, he was going to have to pay a lot of money. I had no idea that a car accident would happen. But the hotel that I had rearranged without telling the two of them was... Yes, I deliberately chose a place that seemed to be of poor quality based on the reviews. By the way, the first room I booked was a luxury room with a jacuzzi with a night view. I wanted to beat them a little at the end of our relationship. I deserved it, considering the countless ways my husband and mother-in-law have treated me. They called me on my phone an unbelievable number of times when they found out I wasn't home. I had no choice but to answer my husband's call. Otis seemed to be very angry about the hotel. Whoa, was it really that old? And with such bad service? I didn't see anything wrong when I made a reservation. I just responded and didn't pay any attention to what he said. Otis's voice lacked its usual vigor. Even so, he was still trying to put words of the blame on me. But strangely enough, I was able to ignore them. After only a few days away from Otis and my mother-in-law, I was feeling much better. Reading was my hobby, and for the first time in a long time, I went to the library and purchased the books at the bookstore. The delicious home-cooked meals that my best friend Gabby and I prepared together also cheered me up. Besides, I can sleep peacefully every night. My mind is calm and I can't let most things pass me by. Gabby and my parents were also happy to see my change. As planned, I asked Otis to pay me for all the horrible things he had said and done to me over the years. I never once did anything terrible. I was just doing what I thought was best for my stupid wife. I'll never pay you anything. At first, my husband was very stubborn and insistent. To my surprise, he even wanted to marry me again. Well, not exactly. I may consider marrying you again, depending on your attitude. He was talking in his usual spirited way. But, of course, I absolutely refused. After listening to his argument, I opened my mouth. Well, this isn't going to work, so I'm going to apply for mediation. And I will hire a lawyer. As soon as I said that, my husband became quiet, and he showed some reluctance to comply with my request. I think that the issue of our divorce combined with the car accident must have been too much for Otis to handle. Sometime after the divorce, I was able to return to my former job. I am very grateful to my kind boss for making this happen so smoothly. The office is clean. My colleagues are nice and inviting as before. I was feeling rather like I could spread my wings. After a while, I found a nice apartment near the office and started living on my own. I told my best friend Gabby my gratitude, and that I would see her whenever I wanted to, and she was happy to send me off. Time flies. Recently, my boss and friends who knew my situation approached me about a blind date, which I appreciate, but I am busy with work right now. Although the memories have faded, I still sometimes remember the painful days with my ex-husband and mother-in-law. So I am thinking that until I can get my feelings in order, I am not to fall in love or get married for the time being. However, I have decided that I will not give up and will not forget to improve myself until I meet a wonderful match someday. Thank you for watching to the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video.